So, Dr. Cleveland, you have a minute to tell us about yourself and why you're receiving this position.
I want to thank the Kiwanis Club today for sponsoring this forum. My name is Lou Cleveland, and I'm currently serving as the District 2 representative of the school board. 4 years ago when I was here, I felt like that my experience as a middle school and high school teacher, an instructor, and administrator at Chipley College in math, science, health sciences, and education gave me the experience to serve the students and the citizens of Washington County. But in the last 3 years, we have been through uncharted waters, which have challenged me to re-examine how I see public education and to continue to learn new strategies for delivering public education. It has been a challenge that I have thoroughly enjoyed and would appreciate being able to serve for 4 more years.
My name is Jerry Harrell. I'm a retired instructor here at the Tech Center, the paint and body instructor for 35 years, served in the military, 35 years in the ministry. And for over 50 years, my family has worked right here at this center putting kids to work, high school and adults. And I think that experience is one good thing, but we like 2 other things. That is heart. You must have heart in the things that you do. Results are measured by your heart, how much heart you put into it. And our kids need the heart for our students, our schools, and the people to represent. The third thing, we must have humility. No one on this earth has all the answers. It's okay to ask for help every once in a while because there's wisdom in a multitude of people there. And so our community wants to be part of our community, and our education wants to be part of our community, so we need to bring everybody together so we can solve the issues that's facing our kids today.
Perfect. We'll begin with our questions, and we'll start with you, Dr. Cleveland. The first question is, what are the 3 most important issues faced by Washington County schools at this time?
I think foremost is how to reopen our schools and get children back into school. The second would be the safety and the mental health of our students. And third, which is something that grieves me, is there seems to be a certain segment of our student body who has no vision or no plan for re-entering either the workforce or post-education after they graduate from high school. They're just kind of floating and have no idea of how they're going to make their impact on this world. The reopening of schools, we've got a multitude of issues. We have heard research and pediatricians saying it is so important to get our students back into an environment, a school environment, where they can grow emotionally and socially, and this is especially critical for K through 3. We have students who need the extended services of the schools, such as speech therapy, occupational therapy, lunches, even clothes that we need.
Mr. Herrell?
The 3 things I believe we're facing naturally is COVID-19. We have no idea what we're going to do in the next few weeks because everything changes. And so we have to be changed with that. And the second thing is going to be our dropout rate. I know that our dropout rate fluctuates from year to year, but when we have a down year, we need to begin to get all the research together and find out why we had a down year and start working on those. And the third thing is our dropout rate. We're losing students from Bay County, we're losing students from Holmes County, we're losing them going home. We need to have them a vision imparted in them, and that will come with our career technology training. So we all need to get together and work together as a community, as a single mind, single body, solving the issues that we have in our education facilities.
Okay. Dr. Cleveland, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
Well, I would just like to finish on the idea of reopening our schools, but we want to reopen them, but we also have to be very careful for our students and our staff. And the school staff and the district office is working very, very hard to make that reopening as safe for our students and in a timely manner that will give us the best option of being successful.
Mr. Herrell?
Yes, and I believe the best way to go about this is getting our teachers involved, our parents involved, and our community involved, and get a coalition of them to see how they feel about opening our schools. And so if we can get those together and us working together, we can come up with some solutions. And every solution we have has to be flexible to be able to shift in a different direction in case we need it to be shifted in a different direction. Because we're going to have change this year.
Okay. We'll move to the next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Harrell. What is the role and job description of a school board member in Washington County?
Is budget planning is one of the things that they have to do. Is procedure and policy. That are the three major things that they do. But even though we have to look at our procedure and the policies that we've had in our past and see what is working and what not is working, and we need to replace those policies and procedures that we have to make sure that they are fitting our students up today than to keep looking to the past and dragging the past into our future.
Yes, I think Mr. Harrell mentioned two of the roles of the school board. The other one is setting goals for the district. In terms of policy, most of the policies that we have at the school board are set through state statutes that the legislature sets for us. However, as we review those policies, we have the right to tweak them just a little bit to make them better fit our district, and exactly what Mr. Harrell said, to add a procedure maybe with that policy. And so that I especially love this area. I spent a lot of time in policy with interpreting that with students and teachers in my role as administrator at Chipley College. And I love to look at a policy and see a person sitting behind it and say, is it clear? Do they understand exactly what that policy represents? The budget, for the budget, we oversee the budget monthly by looking at the school expenditures and make sure that they're reasonable and fit the school goals. And we also set the millage rate for how citizens will be taxed.
30 seconds.
No, ma'am.
30 seconds.
Yes, the third one about setting goals for our district, it is important that we are able to look into the future. We have kindergartners who are entering that will be, next year they'll be entering the workforce or in post-secondary education in 13 years. And we need to be able to look into that future, have an idea of what's in that future so that we are constantly changing that curriculum and changing how we teach so that they'll be ready when they leave our school system.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with you, Dr. Cleveland. What is the most important task of a school board member in Washington County?
For me, it has been attending school and community and governmental events. I had no idea how closely the schools worked with the county commissioners, with the Council on Economic Development, and with the Sheriff's Department, and how we all need to coordinate together. The Washington County Schools is the biggest employer in Washington County. So we are a big business in that area, and what we do actually affects the business and the economic health of our community. By attending these events, I have developed a relationship with all key stakeholders, and that relationship helps communication between those and knowing who to go and visit. I love to support the academic and extracurricular events of our students. It helps me see what they're doing in the academic classrooms. It also lets me see with pride what we're doing on the athletic field and in the band and choral concerts. And
Mr. Harrell?
I believe personally that a school board member should be able to be in our schools, spend quality time with all the educators to find out exactly what's going on and how everything is operating. How can we do any changes in anything unless we sit down and talk with the people that's on the front line? You know, we can't be a Sunday morning quarterback, you know, because you can call a play in your easy chair and it didn't work, and only you the one that knows it failed, you know, nobody else knows that. So I believe we get in there and work with our teachers, listen to them. They have some solutions for our problems that we face in our school. And also, not only that, get in our public and sit down and talk with them. I've learned so much about how our public thinks and what their desires is, and they want the same thing as our school board wants. They want a quality education for every student.
30 seconds, Dr. Fields.
And that is so true. It's nice to have that public input, and when you attend things outside, we don't have many people come to the school board under citizens' requests and express their views, but when you're out at the events, people come up to you and give you suggestions and talk to you about their concerns, and those are important so that you, when you vote, you have not only your viewpoint, but the viewpoint from the people that are participating in those activities or have children in those activities, and you're just able to make a better decision.
Thank you. Mr. Herrell.
One of the best ways we could do that is just set time aside and invite the public to come in and sit down and talk. You know, I mean, the public is wanting to get involved in our education, and they just want somebody to listen to them. Sit down, take the time with them, and discuss with them. And they got some great solutions for our education situations that we've been facing for the last 4 years and the last 8 years. So let's get together and let's start solving the problems that's been facing our school.
Thank you. So we'll move to the next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Harrell. How can we improve the graduation rate of high school students in Washington County?
First of all and foremost, we must start in our elementary and junior high school. As you know, our kids' brain gets developed at an early age. So we can target those students that's sort of falling behind at this early age and start giving them and working them one-on-one with our teachers, or give the help they need, that when they progress even to the junior high school, they can get help there. And so that would be able to help them keep in school. The quick fix on the other end is to reinstate our high school education diploma at the tech center here, that will also help those students that maybe are feeling they can't graduate. Will give them an opportunity to graduate, even though it won't be counted on our graduation statistics, but at least we're offering them a solution that they can graduate with a Washington County high school diploma.
Dr. Fields.
We are concerned that our graduation rate is below the state average, but you need to remember what that graduation represents. It represents the percentage of students who start in the 9th grade who finish 4 years later. In our school system, we have help through credit recovery and GED through WISE, where students can complete their diploma, their graduation diploma, but it may take them 5 years, and they're not counted in that average. And Mr. Harrell mentioned that the technical college has a GED program for those students who separate from school, and they have a chance to return at any time and complete their education. But a lot of times students are leaving school not because of academic reasons. Most of us could not realize the environment that a lot of students are coming from. I wish I had time to share the stories that administrators and teachers have done to intervene with students that enable them to stay in school, moving them into their houses, paying off fees.
30 seconds, Mr. Harrell.
When we see a problem, we need to start addressing it then. You know, no matter what it is, I'm sure we can come up with some solutions on how to address every problem, especially when it comes to graduation. We know our kids come from broken homes. I taught out here for 35 years. I know about our Washington County high school students. I know what they had come through, and I know what they were going through. And so we, as teachers, are going to have to play a more important role in every kid's life. I had a goal in my life when I taught here. I spent 5 minutes every day, personally, one-on-one with our students, talking about their life. What are they going to do? And that made a big difference in their life. So our teachers really are going to have the extra load put on them to pay attention to our kids, and let's start reaching out and seeing what we can do, working together and solving the problems that we have.
I agree with Mr. Harrell, and I think that those relationships with the administrators, the guidance counselors, and the school staff, even the bus drivers. I know there's one of our school board members, when we were talking with some high school students, told those students that the only hug that he got was a hug from Ms. Roberts when he got to school every day. And we have students like that that are coming every day, and those personal relationships as far as keeping students in school are so, so important.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with you, Dr. Cleveland. How can the public best support the overall efforts of the schools?
They can best support by being involved in the schools. If a parent, a grandparent, or a guardian of a student, if there are numerous ways that they can contact the schools. They should stay active every day on Focus because teachers are posting grades. They should follow their students so that they don't let the students get too far behind before they intervene and are struggling and can't catch up. As a community member, you can attend the extracurricular events. Students love to see people supporting them on, and you can financially support those events and allow them to do extra things that we cannot budget them for. You can volunteer at school. We have a program where you can just come in and listen to a struggling student read to you to help improve their reading. You can foster a Take Stock in Children mentor who is...
Mr. Herrell.
As board members, we should give our public an opportunity to come in and be part of our education. We need transparency more in our system now so that people will understand what's going on. It's funny how why is it every election cycle people begin to find out some of the problems that we have in our school system. We give transparency and give them an open forum. We have mentors coming into our school, which will take the troubled students to the side and spend 30, 40 minutes with them, helping them, counsel them, and helping them get their lives ironed out and going on to a career. So I believe that we could get more transparency. We all work together in that, give them an opportunity, and let them begin to show their love and their compassion for our students and our schools.
One other thing is I would ask you as a community member to express your appreciation to the teachers, staff, and administrators for what they're doing in the schools. You could not believe how much the teachers stepped up when we finished school in March. There were teachers who made home visits every week to students in their classroom that they were concerned about to make sure that they were doing okay in their home environment. And they are doing a tremendous job every day working with students, and they need your support.
I always called our parents, and I said, come on, stop by and see how your son or your daughter's doing in class. I said, but one thing I do ask of you, do not call me and let me know when you're coming. Because when I want you to come, I want you to see how I am, and I really want to see how your kid is doing. And you'd be surprised, some of the parents go, is that my kid? Yeah, it's your kid, all right. And so that opened up to them that they can be able to, and then only talk to that. Our kids say, I don't know if my mom or my daddy coming today. So guess what? They began to apply themselves a little more because they didn't want a visit from Santa Claus.
Okay. We'll move to the next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Harrell. Would higher taxes provide better schools and educational services for Washington County?
Yes, ma'am, they would, but we have to prove to the taxpayers that we are good stewards over their money. Make sure we're spending the money to where it's supposed to go. It'd be great to have an unlimited budget, for our schools. It takes a lot of money, as Miss Cleveland will tell you, a lot of money to operate our schools. And so, yes, it would, but let's just win the trust and the faith back of our community that we'll be good stewards over the money that we are given, and make sure that that money is given to the right sets of kids that are needed.
Dr. Cleveland?
I certainly echo Mr. Harrell's thoughts on that, and there needs to be a balance between the needs of the school and the ability of the taxpayers to pay. I think the half-cent sales tax is an example of how you can find that balance. I supported the half-cent sales tax because it gave us an opportunity to get additional revenue for the schools from people who were not citizens of Washington County, that were passing through and staying in our motels, shopping at Walmart, buying gas as they went through. And also it allowed people who did not pay ad valorem taxes, who were not participating in financing the school, a chance to have that opportunity to do that. What that gave us was a revenue stream of almost $1 million a year that we can collect for 10 years to do long-term planning in terms of technology and construction, and not rely on what the legislature funds us every year. The school board, in appreciation for the citizens,
Mr. Harrell?
I believe that the money was around $900,000. And so what great opportunity right now with what we're facing is to use that money wisely in the COVID-19 in our class right now. That comes at a precious time that when we really need it, now we can have it to begin to use that money for that.
I was going to finish by saying that the school board on that time, once we got the sales tax, we reduced the capital outlay tax from 1.35 to 1.25 so that we could, because we had the funds that we needed for technology and construction, and so we were considerate of our taxpayers who had been paying that additional money every year.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with you, Dr. Cleveland. How can we encourage people to have faith in Washington County schools?
Well, I think all institutions are judged by the product that they produce, and our product is preparing students for the workplace or for post-secondary education. So we can encourage people to have faith in our schools by letting them look at the state assessment data so that they can see how well our students are doing against other students, because they know that they will be competing against those students later in post-secondary education or for jobs. We had students earn over 2,000 industry certifications in the last 2 years, and we have AP and dual enrollment classes at all of our high schools, and I think those are good markers for having faith in our schools. But of all the accomplishments that I think, I would tell you the biggest joy that I had in our schools was when I was at Vernon High School. Chipley High School was playing in the tournament for the district championship, and when we went in that gym, the Vernon mascot and Vernon students were there cheering our volleyball team on to win the district. I think that when we teach our children to be rivals yet supporters, we're doing something right in our schools.
Mr. Herrell?
Well, I'm not going to give you my opinion. I've talked to a lot of people in our community, and they're so disappointed in what has happened in our school system. And they feel like that the board has not had their best interests at heart in our students. I just plain, I can tell you, I'm not, and that's exactly how the sentiment of what I've talked to several dozens of people, the same thing. But also at the same time, they don't know exactly what is going on in our system today, how hard and what our people have to focus on and what they have to meet with the COVID-19 going on. But we need to get them back to have faith back into us. And like I said before, we get transparency. We start working together as a unit, not 5 members working individually, but 5 come together in a unit together to serve what's best, which is our students and our school and our community.
It has been a privilege to work with our school board. I've never worked with a more professional or hardworking group of people who really have the experience and the desire to serve the citizens of Washington County. And every day is a challenge. We can always do better, and we're always looking to do better.
Mr. Herrell?
One meeting a month is not going to help solve our problems. We need at least more than one meeting a month, a workshop, so we can get people together, start working together, coming up with solutions, and stop kicking the can down the road. You know, we still face all these problems year after year after year. We take on more projects, bigger projects, but yet sometimes everything is going to catch up with us. The more we build, the more problems are going to follow it. Let's stop. Let's begin to solve the problems we got now, and that'll reinstate the faith and trust from our community back into our education facilities.
Thank you. So this will be the final question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Harrell. What is the most important job of a school board member?
I believe the most important job that the school board member should be doing is to making sure that we have close ties with our public, with our educators, with our students in our schools. It's more than just policy, procedure, budget, all these other things that we have. That is great. But we need some board members so that when teachers see a board member coming, they won't run the other way. They'll run to them. And they offer solutions to that. So I believe that's the most important we can do, because when people in the public see how we're treating our educators in our facilities, that will mean a lot to them. At least they'll know that we are working to strive to have a better opportunity for all our kids, equal opportunity for every student.
Dr. Cleveland.
I agree with Mr. Herrell. I think the most important thing that we do is we are to be a conduit of the community. I love to get feedback from the community, but also as a board member, I have a responsibility to do my research on that. When people share their ideas, then I like to go ahead and research that idea and see how many other people feel that way about it. What does other schools do? What does studies show that in terms of fixing that problem? And so I think it's a combination of doing both. Doing your due diligence, doing your homework, researching issues that are brought to you, and then making the best decision you can from the widest amount of people that you can get information for. Because when you make a decision, you're not going to please everyone. But if you make the right decision, then you've done your job.
If the community and the people see a board member out working and striving to bring about a better quality education, who can find fault in that?
Dr. Cleveland. Okay, so we're at the close, and so thank you for patiently going through the questions and answering. You'll have 1 minute to do final remarks, and we'll start with Dr. Cleveland.
Well, I want to first say it has been a privilege to serve the citizens and students of Washington County on the school board. I thought that I would like the job. I have loved the job. It's been even though we only meet at the school board on once a month, we do have workshops in between when we need it. It is an everyday job. There's a lot of times that you're up at the school board that you don't realize through audits. You need to find some information about something that you're thinking about, or you want to meet with the superintendent and talk about issues. The door has always been open, and with our district staff, they've always been so kind to give me the information that I needed. I have enjoyed being back into the schools. It has been a pleasure watching the accomplishment of our students and our teachers. They are achieving at the state level and at the national level, and there's pride in that. There's pride for them, but there's also pride for us at the school board to continue to support them and to continue to recognize them. Wow. And I would appreciate the opportunity to serve again.
Thank you. Mr. Herrell?
For over 53 years, my family and my wife's family, Sue, has served right here in this center. We have put hundreds of students, trained them, and put them on the job. My family for over 60 years and her family over 60 years, we've served our community. Law enforcement, medical, ministry, education. So, you know, serving has just come second nature to us. And I am sure thankful that I've had the opportunity. Because I had an opportunity to leave Washington County, go to work in another tech center for more money. But you go where your heart is. And where your heart is, you'll find your treasure. And the treasure's been all the sons and daughters from these high schools that I had an honor and a privilege to be part of their life. And I am so thankful for having that opportunity. And yes, I love this school. I'm a graduate of Chipley High School. I'm a graduate of this school. My wife's a graduate of Vernon High School. So thank God it's all peace in the family.
Well, that concludes this session. Thank you for your participation.